everybody, my name is Gavin Boyer, and welcome back! Today we're listening to Pain by Caroline Polachek. Now, Caroline Polachek is an artist that is basically very unfamiliar to me. I've only heard of her once in a Charlie XCX song, and that's about it. So I can't wait to see what she has in store for me. Here we go! We're on to track number 1, The Gate. Right off the bat, this just seems extremely ethereal in a way. You know, it feels like I'm floating up into space and she's just lifting me off the ground. What a beautiful intro, though. And I feel like she's doing it right, you know? You have a shorter 2-minute track at the very beginning of your album to kind of introduce you to what it's going to sound like sonically. If this is any indication of what the album is going to sound like, I'm going to have such a good time with this. We're on to number 2, Pang.
There's a look in your eyes when you're hungry for me. It's a beautiful knife cutting right where the fear should be.
Ooh.
Into me.
Oh my god!
Into you. And you go.
What I could tell from her so far is that she puts a lot of work into her music. A lot of kind of thought process goes into this, right? Because, you know, within the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds of this album so far, I've heard so many different wild things, so many ethereal, kind of spiritual sounding things.
Into me. And I go. Into you. And you go. Into me.
Oh.
Tell me what you're afraid of. Tell me what night is made of. What can I not destroy for you?
This is my first time hearing Caroline Polachek, and I have no idea how to categorize her, you know? I don't know what genre this is. I mean, I would almost say this relates to some kind of pop. What subgenre of pop this is, I have no idea, but that's probably the closest thing I could think of. If you have more information, please let me know.
Killing me like a secret. I open the door and you run through. Into me. And I go. Into you. And
Yeah.
into me. And I go. Into you. And you go.
Now that chorus is just deadly because I want that every single time. All that pain. That's so good. That's so good. That's such a huge payoff every single time because it's like this huge euphoric explosion.
It's a beautiful knife cutting right where the fear should be. Into me.
Yes! Oh!
Into you. And you go. Into me. And I go.
There's so much depth in her music already. I can tell there's so much going on. You know, there's so many vocal tracks, at least that I can hear. It's like when you find a corner piece in a puzzle, you know, and you insert it and it gives off this huge kind of, you know, serotonin boost. That's what her music feels like to me. It's the corner piece in a puzzle. Run to number 3, New Normal.
Now what is this feeling? I know you from long ago. question it. The bottle is empty now. What is this?
First off, you know, I love that kind of bass loop that's going on here. It's very just deep and digs into my soul in the nicest way possible. She's kind of going all over the place, honestly. I really don't know what to make of her work, but it sounds gorgeous. It sounds beautiful. She sounds like a painting.
Fog machines and lasers swirling. It's Halloween. I'm sorry for screaming, but I'm afraid I scare you completely. Now what is this? Blizzard in April, I'm underdressed.
It almost seems like she's kind of going through separate scenes or separate memories, right? Because within each verse it seems to be jumping from one thing to the next. You know, time is literally passing. You know, she talks of October or Halloween in this party area and trying not to scare this person. Jump cut, blizzard in April. We're almost moving from like different moments in her life, it seems like.
Usual, but cheating death, buying time in the winter. House arrest, no stopping for dinner. Now what is this? Microphone working, can't hear myself, but cameras are rolling and there's the cue. My heart, it beats so hard, I look for you.
I love that idea of kind of just having a bunch of different verses depicting moments in your life. You know, this may even take place during the course of recording this record, you know, all the things that kind of have happened in between.
Robin, you rescued his broken wing, not broken long. We searched the room, someone yells from the garden, the orange cat. Finish what he started. Now what is this? Skidding of tires. I hold my breath, and you're running faster.
She's definitely recalling all these things in her life or things that have happened. It's not that these things aren't significant, but they are almost kind of like normal things just being recorded. So it's almost like we are seeing out of her eyes in a way, the way she kind of describes this, you know? Now what is this? Robin, you rescued its broken wing, not broken long. You search the room, someone yells from the garden, the orange cat finished what we started. It's a really cool kind of perspective, right? And a really cool way to kind of write about it.
Smashes into the sidewalk, and 911 won't answer the call. Now what is this? Hollywood goes down, a shootout scene. No actors at all. Last night I dreamed you and I were immortal. It's no big deal, this new kind of normal.
Round to number 4, Hit Me Where It Hurts.
Baby, there's something going on. I'm not insane. If I'm already out of time, then make it worse. Go on and hit me in the heart. Hit me where it hurts. I'm feeling like a butterfly trapped inside a plane. Baby, there's something going on. I'm not insane. If I'm already out of time, then make it worse.
So if there's one standout on this so far, it's not only Caroline Polachek's voice, which is gorgeous, by the way, but it's the production as well. And I was reading off to the side that Caroline Polachek basically did, you know, the majority of this by herself, which is an even more impressive feat.
Go on and hit me in the bullseye, dead end, moving target, carousel, carousel, baggage, claim it, promise one day you will hate me, but right now just write it out, write it out, write it out. Magic carpet over London, through the ceiling, watch you dreaming.
I think an exciting thing I can say about her work so far is that I don't think it's going to get stale. She seems like a really inspired artist that is kind of creating this new type of sound, you know, something I haven't really heard before. And that's probably one of the hardest things to do coming from your first actual work, is to define yourself straight out of the gate. And I think she's absolutely done it.
A mess one day, you will hate me, but right now just write it out, write it out. Feeling like a butterfly trapped inside a plane. Maybe there's something going on, I'm not insane. If I'm already out of line, then make it worse. Go on and hit me in the heart, hit me where it hurts. Go on and hit me in the blind spot, Achilles heel, long shot, left field.
I think it makes sense why I heard her with Charlie XCX for the first time, is because I think they make similar music. I think they have similar music, but it's not the same at all. They definitely have like similar energies and similar ways of kind of putting the work out there, but it's two kind of different beasts, if that makes sense.
High stakes, popped ears, promise one day you will hate me, but right now just write it out, write it out, write it out. Do you feel safe? Everywhere hurts now. Now that you found my cure.
There's so much variety in her work already. And the crazy thing is, you know, these are pretty short songs, you know? Each song has been like 3 minutes at max, and within it is a whole kind of smorgasbord of sounds and voices, and it's just, it's just like a musical wasteland.
I'll be
I love the multiple vocal tracks because it enhances the sound so much. And when she goes higher up, it's a very breathy higher note that she does a lot in her background vocals, at least that I've seen so far. And it adds to the whole kind of euphoric sense that I'm getting from her music.
feeling like a butterfly trapped inside a plane. Maybe there's something going on, I'm not insane. If I'm already out of line, then make it worse. Go on and hit me in the heart, hit me where it hurts. Go on and hit me in the...
Round to number 5, I Give Up.
When I stop caring, you stop caring. When I care less and you care less than me. When I don't need and I don't believe in the hollow phrases you still repeat.
So to me, this means we're talking about a relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic one at that, but, you know, in a relationship, when a relationship becomes monotonous, it repeats a lot of similar things, and in that repetition, you lose meaning in potentially the things you say. So let's take the phrase, I love you, for example. If you put that on repetition and say it every day after every sentence, you know, you start to lose meaning in that. So I could see how you fall apart.
You and I, we fall apart. Now I know what it means to unravel. It's a new and shallow grief, a pathetic kind of sad relief. Didn't used to feel this good to be all alone.
I think I like the lyrical content of this one a lot because I definitely relate to this, you know. I think everybody probably can, you know, when you're in a relationship, some things just be put on repeat. And sometimes that's not necessarily a bad thing. It can lead to a lack of interest between the two people, right? You know, things just start to lose their flair.
When you're already down, I gave you that, told you so, look, makes you crazy.
I like this one. It has like a kind of sunken feeling to it, but it's also a realization that, hey, this isn't necessarily the healthiest kind of relationship I should be in, you know? It didn't used to feel this good to be all alone. Getting out of that relationship, you gain strength in being by yourself again, you know, finding your independence again. You don't become that blob of a person you used to be within that relationship.
And you give me that list of things about myself to change. And now these days it's every night, babe. It's not a rough patch, it's not a phase. You and I, we've fallen apart. Now I know what it means to unravel.
It's almost like her as her older self looking back on this relationship, on this situation, and being like, that wasn't good for you. That wasn't good for you, you know? It's not that it was a rough patch. It's not that it was a phase. It's that we fell apart, you know? We weren't good for each other anymore. It wasn't working.
It's a new and shallow grief, an apathetic kind of self-defeat. It didn't used to feel this good to be all alone, doing every damn thing I can to not go home. I give up. I give up.
This one's interesting because it's definitely a more sunken type of feeling, but there's also a really nice release in that pre-chorus where everything kind of stops and her voice gets lowered, and then the chorus comes in and it's like that release.
I give up. I give up on you now. I give up. How far can you fall when you're already down?
We're on to track 6, Look at Me Now.
Wrote myself a letter, just a single question. When you finally get this, where will you be? Will you be a shipwreck or a star, falling for a boy who doesn't play guitar?
So far, I think a lot of the lyrics in the first half are pointing towards... I think it's pointing towards a lot of sadness, but also a lot of growth as well, you know? It's like she's taking the first step and making her life better, so to speak.
Now rewind the tape back to the start. Said I'd never leave you, but here we are. And you can look at me now. I haven't changed, I'm still the same, but you can look at me now. A hand grenade to throw away.
Sometimes you don't have to change. Sometimes you don't have to change. And relationships will sometimes try and force you to change, but that's not necessarily the right thing to do. Sometimes that's not natural for a person. Sometimes that's not right for a person.
Now my friends all tell me, girl, you're getting skinny. Have you not been sleeping? How could I be trying to find the light switch in the dark, burying the good girl I know I'm not?
So friends are taking notice not only of her physical state, but her mental state as well. Girl, you're getting skinny. Have you not been sleeping? how could I be? So obviously, this relationship, this situation is literally kind of ruining her. How could I be shows that there is recognition. It shows that she's kind of self-aware of what's going on. So that's huge.
I can't run anymore. Gotta stay right here and face the storm. I can't run anymore. When the wake-up call is all I know.
A lot of the times it's better to face the situation head on, get it done earlier than later, because later will harm you in more ways than you would know. But it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do.
I haven't changed, I'm still the same, but you got me now. A hand grenade to throw away. Got me now.
We're on to track number 7, Insomnia.
How long can sunlight stay warm in a storm? How long till
She creates this mixture of a calming softness of her voice. In the background, there's like this huge transcendental feeling, and I don't quite know how to describe it other than that, because it's huge and massive. It feels like, something in your life is about to change. Things are going to be different after this.
earth runs cold? Come dawn, come day, come half awake, come blue, come gray, come waves that break.
Yeah, thematically speaking, I think this makes a lot of sense. If we're still talking about the same kind of relationship and we're finally getting to this point where color is kind of being sucked out of it, it makes a lot of sense, At the end of a relationship, you typically don't feel the same way you did at the start. You don't have the same kind of color and feeling as you did at the start. The skies were still blue. They aren't gray now. There aren't clouds in the sky. The waves aren't coming to break.
And it's not enough. No reply, no dreams of dried fields.
She has so much ability in her voice to really draw out these feelings. And I know a lot of us can relate to this, right? For those of us that have been in relationships, we probably have felt this at one point in our life, and it just feels so real.
That once were green, burned by someone just like me. Come dawn, come day.
I love the imagery in this one. It's almost, to me, when I close my eyes, I think of the world as a painting. And as the relationship goes along, the color of the painting gets taken away. It gets erased to the point where it's gray, just pencil, There's no full picture anymore. There's no color. There's no life to it.
No reply, no relief. Hold on to
God. No, for real though, Caroline Polachek is a painting put into sounds. She's Picasso, but with music. We're on to number 8, Ocean of Tears.
This is gonna be torture before it's sublime. Just that make it crazy. Passion all of my courage before you're all mine. Just that make it crazy. Oh my God, I wanna know what it feels like.
This album is just a beautiful, beautiful soundscape. It makes me really excited to see what she has coming next. That's the thing, right? I think it's gonna be really hard to top this album because what we're getting from this is incredible.
You close and tangle up with your real tight. The only thing that's separating you and me tonight. There's an ocean of tears. Oh my God, I wanna know what it feels like. Just an inch away from living a dream life. The only thing that's separating you and me tonight. There's an ocean of tears.
So I think we're dealing with a separation of the two, so probably a long-distance relationship. In, long-distance relationships, you could be physically separated by an ocean. Oh my God! The way she is able to just build upon what she's already created is insane. The way it kind of just adds up in intensity. It adds to the feeling. It adds to the full texture of the song.
Show me the future. Yeah, I'm all eyes. Tell me you're ready. I'm ready. Pulse was racing and racing and racing and racing, but it's a long ride. Tell me you're ready.
I sense a lot of sadness in this album, but it's also I want to say that it's a sadness that is really constructive in a way, because I think she is looking back and kind of realizing a lot about her in a relationship and kind of what she needs. It's like constructive pain. That's kind of how I would describe this album so far. I guess it's actually kind of funny that the album name is Pang as well, but it's P-A-N-G. So the definition of the word pang: a sudden sharp pain or painful emotion. You could even say this album is a constructive pang. The way she builds her tracks out are so rewarding, right? Because it's not like it hits you with everything at the very beginning, or even the chorus for that matter. It comes after. It's like it's almost like pain. You go through something that is hard, but afterwards you get the results. You get the reward from it. You get the growth from it as well. We're on to number 9, Her Big Eyes.
I can picture you right now at a window seat, crying for nobody except the world.
What an interesting way to say that. Crying for nobody except the world. See, what's interesting about that is it says nobody and the world in the same sentence. Nobody implies that she isn't caring for anybody, but in the same sentence, she's caring about everybody in the world at the same time. It could be that the scope of this person is so full that they have no time to focus on the smaller things, like the people around them.
I can picture you right now, running down the street, late for nobody except
mean, vocally, Caroline Polachek is just an absolute beast. I mean, this album is just making me gush so far because it's so interesting. It's so intriguing. Every song has kind of something new to pick apart, something new to feast on, really. In between the verses, in between the choruses, she almost fills that up with some really interesting sounds, whether it just be kind of breathy notes or production wise as well. There really is not an empty space on this album at all, unless it's purposeful.
Picture me all messed up now. Can't talk to nobody. Can't plan for anything except the rain.
So to me, it seems like we're focusing on a person that I think it's a person that may be really closed in at the moment, is having a hard time with interacting with others. You can't see anything else but the rain. You can't see anything else but sadness. You know, the world is blue right now.
Today the flags will all fly green. The embassy. You're here next to me. Except you're not. Hey, big eyes, can you swim?
I mean, we're kind of talking about a person that may be dissociating a lot. Is physically there, yes, but mentally probably not. So physically they may take part in like certain activities, you know, may go get food with you, but it doesn't feel like that person, that relationship is really active at the moment. You know, they're probably just like an empty vessel in a way.
Hey, big eyes, can you swim down to me? Hey, red star, can you burn down?
That's really crazy. The chopping of the vocals in the background are very it's almost off-putting in a very calm way. But again, you know, just another piece that has helped creating this full sound, this full canvas of strings, of her vocals, of her breathiness, of her emotion. Run to number 10, Go As a Dream.
Someone changed the clock and left the window open when I must have drifted off. And it's just your kind of trick to leave me empty-handed, leave me with the riddle unsolved.
There's something about this one that almost seems more childlike in a way, more it feels a lot softer, less emotionally dense. There've been a lot of darker tones in the other songs, which makes sense because, you know, we're talking about a lot of sadder things. There really hasn't been too much happiness within this. Maybe happiness in a really roundabout way, right? Because we're dealing with a lot of realizations and constructive pain.
I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can make this peace.
voice really does kind of remind me of a cloud, and I think even more so on this song because we're almost talking about dreaming, right? It's almost as if as she left her window open, she started to kind of float outside.
This time you're not coming back, and you're slipping through my fists, blurry at the edges, leaving only legend. You go as a dream, go as a dream.
Even if the sound is lighter, there's something kind of devious about this. Devious in the way that the lyrics are pointing towards sadder things. You're almost like that card played by the magician, but this time you're not coming back. And it's slipping through my fists, blurry at the edges, leaving only legend. So maybe the memory and the relationship of this person is almost, fading away from her, escaping her. We're on to track number 11, Caroline, Shut Up.
Sometimes I wonder, do I love you too much? Then I tell myself, Caroline, shut up. 'Cause there's only one way to find out if it ever gets better than right now.
Sometimes I wonder, do I love you too much? Then I tell myself, Caroline, shut up. So maybe talking on that voice in your head that constantly tells you that you can't do this, that you're going to mess this up, potentially.
Dare to come closer, let me see you in the light. Dare to stay with me, you know I get low sometimes. Dare to make time stop instead of speeding up.
Yeah, I definitely think this is kind of talking about the doubts that your mind often grows. The voice that you should tell to shut up, because I get the same way as well. Whenever I have doubts about a certain project or maybe a certain video, for instance, I tell myself to shut up and just publish it or, do that type of thing. You will never know unless you do it.
Sometimes I wonder, do I love you too much? Then I tell myself, Caroline, shut up. 'Cause there's only one way to find out if it ever gets better than right now.
There are lots of, relationship type, breakup type albums out there, but this one, it hits a little bit differently, right? I think this one focuses on a breakup or, a separation between a relationship, but it's so constructive.
Now you got me jealous and I'm not the jealous type. Spending all the cash that I was saving up. Lying in the bath, spit out a fountain of wine. Looking like a god, you know you fucked me up.
So yeah, that voice in our head definitely does want us to question ourselves, to question our abilities, even though we should be like full sending it every single time. Is it nice to have a voice of reason? Yes, but it hinders your ability as a human if that voice of reason is turned to the max. Sometimes you need to find that ability to shut it off for you to really reach your full potential.
And this is hard, God. Give me
hard. God, give me scissors and I'm running on the tightrope. And I've just got to trust it now. The situation can be really scary at times. You need to turn off that voice and just go, you know, and just go. Sometimes you really need to trust yourself, trust your instincts, and see where that takes you. You're probably gonna be surprised with yourself, to be honest. And I'm talking from experience, right? You spend a lot of time doubting yourself. You never know where you can fully be. So sometimes you have to walk that tightrope, even if it is scary.
Sometimes I wonder, do I love you too much?
Oh my
Then
God.
I tell myself, Caroline, shut up. If tomorrow you want me, then I don't have a doubt that it gets even better than right now.
So for number 12, So Hot You're Hurting My Feelings, it's available on my channel, and I watched the music video to this one as well. It was a lot of fun, really great song, and like the perfect single to really put this album out there. We're on to number 13, Door.
Back in the city, I'm just another girl in a sweater. But bet you will know this signature on a check made after you. Took 10 laps round the planet to prove what I wasn't. And the door slams hard behind you.
Interesting. So I'm learning that Caroline Polachek was part of another band, Chairlift, back in, I think Chairlift formed around 2005 and disbanded around 2017. So within that time, you know, she toured around the world a lot. And within that time touring, she kind of discovered herself.
Been waiting for regret to hit me, some kind of reckoning. I waited for the drop, cause lately the yang comes with you. Back in the city, I'm just another girl in a sweater.
It's not that she says a lot, but what she says is really concise and to the point and said in a really nice way. Been waiting for regret to hit me, some kind of reckoning. I waited for the drop, cause lately the yang comes with yin. With the good is also the balance of bad. With the sun comes the rain.
But bet you will know this signature on a check made after you. Now does the sunset sort in the wood, yeah. Sometimes I don't know who I'm singing to. Who is that you? Who I sing to when the house is empty?
Sometimes I don't know who I'm singing to. Who is the you who I sing to when the house is empty? So, you know, maybe this kind of big kind of open question, right? After a relationship, who am I singing to anymore? You know, there's this kind of big open hole in my life and it doesn't feel the same. The house is literally empty, you know? It doesn't feel like a house anymore.
You open the door to another door, to another door, to
Oh.
another door, to another door, and I'm running through to you.
Oh my God!
You open the door to another door, to another door, to another door, to another door, and I'm running through.
I described her music as ethereal and euphoric earlier. This is a prime example of that. That chorus was everything. It feels like I'm floating on clouds. It feels like I am understanding everything about the world at once. There's this huge kind of reflective nature about her music that makes me feel so open and free.
And I'm waking up sore and dizzy from a tiny concussion, and the rainfall makes you miss me, even though I say it doesn't. Back in the city, I'm just another girl in a sweater.
And we're waking up sore and dizzy from a 10-year concussion. A 10-year concussion, maybe that's referring to the relationship, because a relationship can take course over 10 years. Initially, with a concussion, you know, you probably have memory loss, you probably hurt, you probably have headaches. And with the separation of a relationship, you probably hurt a lot. You probably try to forget their name, forget their memory for a while, right?
Back in the city, everything's different when we're not together. You open the door to another door, to another door, to another door, to another door, and I'm running through to you. You open the door to another door, to another door, to another door, to another door.
Definitely the most euphoric sounding song on this album so far. I would almost say that the second half of the album so far is a lot less dark, you know, a lot less focused on pain. There is still a lot of pain to it, but it feels like it's healing.
Running, 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 running. Back in the city, I'm just another girl in a sweater. But bet you will know this signature on a checkmate I do you.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that gets put in the background of her music, right? She has the type of album that if you listen to it twice, you'll probably pull something different out from it the second time around, right? Because there's lots of backup vocals, there's lots of tiny sounds being added in throughout the song as it progresses. I mean, sonically, this thing is just a joy.
To another door, to another door.
Oh!
And I'm running through
Yes!
to you.
Oh.
You open the door to another door, to another door, to another door, to another door.
Oh.
And I'm running through to you.
It has to be the most euphoric sounding song on here so far. It feels like I am just floating, weightless. All the soreness in my body is almost gone, really. It feels like I'm just being lifted up. Very much how I felt at the very beginning of this album. It's kind of coming full circle, if that makes sense. Run to the last track, Parachute.
Awake from a dream, one that started as a nightmare, like a war so extreme, it erased itself from memory.
The way she can really just immerse you in the experience. Immediately awake from a dream, one that started as a nightmare, like a war so extreme it erased itself from memory. So this is Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh, and this is what Caroline Polachek's music sounds like. It's incredible. It's an art piece.
Here's where I jumped from the airplane without questioning it. The curve of the coast of Los Angeles spreading itself below and blooming over the parachute.
Throughout this album, we almost get to see a full growth of Caroline Polachek. In Caroline Shut Up, we talked of a lot of doubts of having that voice in our head that said, you know what, you can't do this, you should stop, you're going to ruin this relationship, this song isn't good, this, that, and the other. And we get to the end of the album and we're here, we're on the airplane. And we're ready to jump. We're ready to be set free.
I've got to trust it now. Change in the wind, and I'm drifting from the crescent.
To me, as she jumps out, you know, she gets pulled in a separate direction, it seems to be. With being free, there is definitely an uncertainty. And with that uncertainty means that you can fail. You can definitely fail, but with failing comes growth.
Closing in on a sparkle of the waves. Go on, take me. It will feel like going home.
What a beautiful way to wrap up the album, though. There's something so freeing in this. It's been a full journey of figuring out those problems and doubts to the point where we can be free.
Rise this, pulling me back the other way to strip malls, highways, and streets.
She was ready to face failure or whatever came with it. I'm not afraid to drown, but you know what ends up happening is she's going towards her destination. She's fully sending herself to whatever may come. She thought at first it would be failure, but it seems to be going more towards success, right? Yeah, you're going to the strip malls, highways, and treetops instead of drowning in the ocean.
Landing on the soft ground.
So that was Caroline Polachek's Pang. What a full experience that was. You know, there was a lot of heartbreak and emotions that came with that, but there's also a lot of realization and self-growth within it as well. If I could describe the album, it would be constructive pang. P-A-N-G. Almost the ability to gain growth from pain and suffering, you know? You don't suffer for no reason. You always kind of get something out of it, even if it doesn't seem like it in the moment. The end of a relationship can suck, but what comes out of it is growth as a human being. Her sound is phenomenal, her voice is phenomenal, very ethereal and euphoric type of feeling to it. Please like and subscribe, it helps out a ton, and lets me know that you're interested in seeing more work by Caroline Polachek. That's going to be the end of the video. Please have a big, fat, beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye!